Good afternoon and welcome to Wizards World. I am Jim Rodondi. Today we welcome back Ty Horn with Celebrated Experiences. You might recall the last time Ty was with us, he spoke about London and the many other beautiful areas of England. Today he will be taking us to the Emerald Island of Ireland. As a reminder, we would appreciate it if you would mute yourself so there's no background noise during the presentation. If you have any questions, please use the chat box and we will get to your questions at the end. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. Take it away, Ty.
Okay, well, good afternoon and good evening, everybody. I'm delighted to be back with you. Thank you very much to Jim and Dominique and the team at Travel Wizards. These have been really fun exercises for us as well, to have an opportunity, a little bit more deep dive into the destinations that we specialize in. If any of you, are not familiar with Celebrated Experiences, but we are a destination partner that focuses exclusively on Ireland, England, Italy, Scotland, and Wales. And I had the pleasure, as Jim mentioned, of presenting some highlights of London and English countryside to you not too long ago. And we thought tonight, Ireland would be a great topic to cover. And we actually put quite a lot together for you tonight. It's quite a photo safari, I would say. Hopefully a bit of a feast for the senses visually for you. Ireland, as you may or may not know, blessedly is getting ready to reopen to American vaccinated travelers as of July 19th. So I think it's definitely very timely to revisit this wonderful destination. And what we've done really here, before I go into the slides, is really just show you how you can spend more time in Ireland, actually, and linger a little bit longer in the destination. And we've broken it down into different regions, actually. We're going to pretty much cover most of the entirety of the island in our time together, but really just to show you what's really possible. Think about things in terms of maybe how you can experience Ireland really over the course of your lifetime, going once in one way, visiting it in another respect the second time. Us as Americans with our 1 week, sometimes a year to travel, tend to rush through things a little bit. So we thought we would just show you a little bit more about Ireland and how you can think about it again in terms of your travel planning over the course of your life, depending on where you're at in your life with your families, maybe if you're retired, a lot of more flexibility in terms of traveling, and just in different ways to think about experiencing the destination. So, I'll be happy to take any questions as well towards the end. So today we're going to start in one of our favorite areas, which we refer to as Ireland's Wild West. And in the map, if you can see here, there's the yellow line I'm pointing out right now, is just next to Knock Airport. That's all County Mayo, that area. And of course, Ireland's all of these different counties that you see with the white lines. Then you've also got Galway and Connemara. So in this region, you've got obviously spectacular scenery, as you do throughout the country of Ireland, but also, I want to come back to this in a second, the fact that you have a lot of families are actually from, if you have any Irish ancestry, you'll find that a lot of the names that you might know of, O'Malley, Gaughan, Fallon, actually as well, even the Biden family, our President Biden, they would all come really from this part of Ireland. So it's really quite interesting. There are a lot of heritage connections to this part of Ireland. We're just working our way back a little bit. Just talk a little bit about the scenic beauty. Connemara National Park, for example, this is a real feast for the senses. You're going to be in this area just west of Galway. Kalari Harbor. I'm not going to go and mention necessarily every single thing that's in the pictures. I really just want you to soak up a little bit of the landscape that you see. But the beaches are spectacular. You've also got things like the 12 Bins with the peaks. This is a great area. In particular, I have a whole book actually upstairs about this. Connemara and Mayo are particularly interesting for hikers. So if you're someone who really enjoys hiking, whether it be like a 1 to 2 mile more leisurely jaunt or a full 10-mile type of a day, there's a lot of fantastic hiking trails in Connemara. But you also have these beautiful, colorful villages that one would associate with Ireland, with Clifton, Westport, and Cong, which I will mention when I come to talk a little bit about Ashford Castle a little bit later on. Also, Ireland's only fjord. People think about Norway for fjords. Well, Ireland has a fjord as well, and it's in County Mayo. So you see the rainbow scenes that you would think of in terms of Ireland. This is a picture actually from the fall, which is a wonderful time to visit. Ireland really is a year-round destination. But then also the Wild Atlantic Way is something that they did a few years ago. And what it is it's a signposted driving route that runs 2,500 kilometers from County Donegal in the northwest, a little bit where we're focused on right now, all the way down to County Cork. And this is a route that you can cycle on. You can drive, of course, the Wild Atlantic Way, but this is something that really incorporates all of this Western Ireland landscape into a fully signposted route. So this would work really well in terms of a self-drive type of itinerary, or obviously with a chauffeur drive. And then just some of these really spectacular drives that you have in this part of Ireland. I was talking to Jim earlier. I know he loves Connemara with the Dooley Pass, the Delphi Valley. And then from this area, you see with the arrows here, this again was where, with the famine migration, a lot of families left this part of Ireland, headed down to Cork, and then came to the US. So you might have family, you may have friends, again, with Irish roots, and this is where this area really comes into play as well in that respect. And of course, all the things people think about when they go to Ireland, people want to meet locals, they want to go to pubs, they want to see, what life is really like. This is a part of Ireland. It is one of the more rural parts of Ireland. So you still have this very well preserved rural lifestyle that everyone thinks of when they think about wanting to experience Ireland. There's just so many wonderful villages and things along the way to think about and experience. This is the Great Sheepdog Experience. This is Joyce's Sheepdogs. This is something where we can do a personal private demonstration for you, for your clients. When you're in the Connemara region. The Connemara Smokehouse is fantastic as well. This is all stuff that's all around the national park. So you can pop up to the smokehouse in Connemara, just for an hour and see how they smoke the salmon. A lot of things like this, very artisanal types of experiences that are still very traditional in the way that they are done. In Galway, just some different festival things as well. The Oyster Festival is a great event each year. I didn't put this in the presentation, but there's also the Galway races. So for horse racing fans, the Galway races are a very important destination event in addition to what we just showed you there. Oyster farming, lobstering, these are all things you can do off the coast of Connemara. You have the Foxford Woolen Mills. So if you clients would like to see actual garments being made in the traditional way, this happens at Foxford Woolen Mills. You have things like Galway Crystal, where they still make the actual crystal in the factory locally. There's a private experience that we can do here as well in Sheridan's Cheesemongers, which is a wonderful place to sample all varieties of local Irish cheeses. And you'll see this a lot as we go through as well, that when it comes to distillery experiences, these are all throughout the country now. There's so many very bespoke, small mom and pop types of distilleries that have popped up, both for whiskey and for gin in Ireland. Features prominently in this area. And then of course, again, the real outdoor active activities. So whether you're interested in hiking, cycling, there's great fly fishing in this part of Ireland as well. Ballynahinch Castle, this is a wonderful example of a hotel that has fantastic outdoor activities right on the estate. The fishing is fantastic in this part of Ireland. Of course, clay shooting, and then just a little bit of a sense of the hotels in this area. And like I say, I'm covering pretty much the entirety of the island of the island tonight in a pretty truncated way. So if there's anything you see like, I'd love to hear more about that, just please definitely ask. But this was really meant to be more inspirational about the country. This is just an example of our celebrated hotels and homes. We have really the best collection of hotels and homes in Ireland, we believe, including the fabulous Ashford Castle right there on the shores of Loch Corrib in County Mayo, just northeast of Galway. This was a former Guinness family home, and it's one of the most spectacular hotels, not just in Ireland, but in the world. And then for those maybe interested in a little bit more of an exclusive use type of experience, maybe a family for a celebratory trip or a buyout, the Clare Island Lighthouse is off the coast of Connemara. This is an 8-room, literally lighthouse property. It's actually quite luxurious on the inside that you can take on an exclusive use basis for your small group. Glenlow Abbey, just outside of Galway. And then also the G and the Galmont hotels, which are city center Galway properties. And then Ballynahinch, which you saw in the picture before. Ballynahinch Castle is right in the heart of Connemara. And we've got two properties on the Ballynahinch estate, both Owen Moor and Lettery Lodge. These would be exclusive use options that would work well for families of 6, 10. So if you're thinking about things in terms of, let's take the whole family to Ireland and be in one place and just really enjoy, these are fantastic exclusive use opportunities for you. And then from there, we're going to head just a little bit further southwest. So this is the southwest region, which is 3 additional areas of Clare, Limerick, and Kerry. The heart of this area, if you've been to Ireland before, is the access with Shannon Airport. So Shannon Airport, there's nothing in Shannon apart from the airport. It's literally a field and the airport. But from this location, from Shannon Airport, you're 2 hours up to Galway, which we were just in before, and then into Connemara, which I was talking about. You're 3 hours across to Dublin with the motorway, and then 2 hours to Killarney, 2 hours to Cork. So this is an entry point either on arrival or departure from Ireland, provides a lot of flexibility in terms of air access. The Kilkee Cliffs are not the most famous cliffs in this area, because you would have the cliffs of Moher, which many of you know would have heard about. But the Kilkee Cliffs would be a little bit less busy, but still really very spectacular in terms of scenery, and a great thing to think about in terms of being able to take in this landscape. Again, the Wild Atlantic Way continues along from the northwest down here to the southwest of Ireland. And then you have these wonderful, villages and spots, places like the village of Adair, with the thatched roof cottages, Ballyvaughan on the coast, as well as the village of Kilkee, which is very near those cliffs that I pointed out just a moment ago. And then, of course, the very iconic Cliffs of Moher. Again, this is in County Clare. One of the things here that's really fun to think about is actually layering in a hiking guide. If you're, again, a hiker, there's a wonderful guide experience that we can do on the Cliffs of Moher, and then also a wider experience out onto the Aran Islands. The Aran Islands are off the coast of Galway. So what we would do, this is a little bit weather dependent going to the Aran Islands, but I will tell you that it's a spectacular day out. And this is another place where you can see really traditional crafts being made as well. If you're looking for things like, if you think about the wool from Ireland and stuff like this, there's wonderful craftsmanship on the Aran Islands in terms of things of that element. Then as far as getting around, you have the Tarbert Ferry, which will take you from Clare actually over to Kerry. So this is a great kind of shortcut of a route, incorporating the water to come across that part of across the Shannon River to County Kerry. And then this would be one of the areas in Ireland that's also so iconic in terms of golf. And, when you think about Ireland for golf, many clients, of course, will think of the links golf courses right there on the ocean. We featured 3 of those here in the presentation. Lahinch, which is right on the coast just southwest of Galway, and then Ballybunion and Doonbeg as well. These are 3 of the top courses in the world. And then for more parkland courses, you have the fabulous golf course at Adair Manor. Adair Manor is going to be playing host to the Ryder Cup in just a few years, actually. And then they also have wonderful golf right there on the estate at Dromullen Castle, which is another one of the most iconic castle hotels in the country, which I think we'll see a little bit later on in the presentation as well. Again, wonderful hiking opportunities in this area. We're happy to design, afternoon of hiking in this region. The falconry in this area can be fantastic at the hotels, both at Adair Manor and Dromullen Castle. They have 2 of the best falconry displays in the country. Spelunking, if you're a little bit more adventurous, you actually go down into the caves in the Burren National Park, the Elwee Caves. This is a great experience if you're so inclined. There's also, Burren Perfumery, where they really integrate all of the local botanicals and herbs into the scents that they create, and you can create your own scent at the Burren Perfumery. And then this is a very special experience. To be on a yacht on Loch Derg. This is a very special lake in County Clare. And when you go out on Loch Derg, you get to actually go to this island that has a 12th century castle right there on the island. So this would be a very, very special thing to work into your trip. More oysters, of course, in this area. We also have the St. Tola goat's cheese farm. Is that not the best goat ever? I love him. But this is a really nice experience as well. And they will do something privately for you to see how they actually make the local product there. You get to meet the goats and explore this. It's a private farm, actually. And this is a really nice experience in this region to do, as well as more of the smokehouse. And another sheepdog demonstration example here. We've actually got a live video for you to enjoy from Kaharkanal with the sheepdog demonstration. And then some of our hotels. So Gregan's Castle is really a very special property. It's called Gregan's Castle, but you see it's not a castle. It's actually a country house hotel that's near the ruin of Gregan's Castle. But at Gregan's Castle, it's right in the heart of the Burin National Park, which is more of a lunar type of a landscape. And they are really well known here for the restaurant as well at the property. It's a really wonderful country house hotel. And then two of the most iconic properties in Ireland here, you saw with the golf as well before, but now just showing you a little bit more about the hotel. You have Dromolin Castle, just outside of Limerick, and then also Adair Manor. So absolutely stunning 5-star deluxe properties that work very well, actually pairing up with a stay up around Ballynahinch in Galway or Ashford Castle. Pairing these two up is really great for more of a 5-star type of a trip. And if you're on more of a budget, you've also got Mustard Seed, which is a charming, lovely country house hotel near Adair, and then Dune Beg with their golf course right there on the shores of the ocean. And for more exclusive use options, Glen Castle is right off of the Shannon River as well. This is an exclusive use option, and Barrow House as well. So these would be things that would be for a larger group or a family. And then going down into Kerry, when people that get Kerry, they think of things like the Ring of Kerry. The pictures you see here are all elements of this area. The Torque Waterfall and Ross Castle are two of the most iconic sites along the Ring of Kerry. And then, of course, the Gap of Dunloe, where you've got a lot of options of how to experience the Gap of Dunloe. There can be pony, horse and carriage ride type of experience here, cycling, hiking, and actually also integrating a boat ride across the lake through Killarney National Park from Dunloe over to Ross Castle. There's Killarney National Park there. And Killarney National Park is an interesting place to mention because, I really feel like this is a lot like the Grand Tetons or Yellowstone here in the United States. When you're in Killarney, you can really take the time and spend, 4 or 5, even 6 nights just based at the national park and have all of these wonderful activities. So what I was showing you here before with the Loch and with the Gap of Dunloe, and then just enjoying the national park area, wider area of the Dingle Peninsula. The Dingle Peninsula itself is a fantastic, full-day trip all around that particular peninsula. And then, of course, again, more of the quaint towns, the artisanal types of things where people actually making products that you can see being made and buy them right there, and enjoying the wonderful traditional music. And of course, there's no lack of fantastic pubs in Kerry as well. Liz Mulcahy, she's one of the best weavers in Ireland. She has a wonderful shop in Kerry. The ice cream is fantastic as well. And then again, just the opportunity to illustrate here. There's our owner, Jonathan, on the bottom right, enjoying a wonderful hike in Gleninchequin Park, just outside of Kinmare near Sheen Falls. But the boat trips, this is where you would go out to the Skellig Islands, for example, known from Star Wars, the kayaking opportunities, horseback riding. So, whether you're someone who wants to do something active every day or just layer things in, this part of the country, affords so many different opportunities in that respect, as well as the wonderful local chocolatier. This is Lourdes Chocolates in Kinmare, where there's a wonderful private demonstration to experience as well. Cooking classes in the area, again, more in terms of crystal making, and then some of the hotels. So you've got the Killarney Park Hotel and Spa, which is 5-star right there in the town of Killarney. It's actually at the gate to the national park. And then places like Idaho Heights in Europe, which overlook the lakes of Killarney with those spectacular views of the mountains and of the national park. So it's absolutely stunning. And really as well, I would like to point out that in terms of weather, in terms of the time of year, this is a destination you can really experience all year round. Even in the wintertime, sometimes clients will say, oh, you want to go when the weather's going to be the best and when it's not going to rain. It could equally rain in July as it would, in February, March. And so it's, I think, important to remember, like, if you're looking for, local experience meeting people, enjoying the pubs and things like that, and maybe not doing as much longer days of touring, some of the off season can be fantastic, and it's also really good value in terms of getting a 5-star product at more of a 4-star rate, in the shoulder seasons. Sheen Falls Lodge, right outside of Kenmare. This is just southwest of Killarney. This is one of the most wonderful settings in the entire country, right there on the River Sheen. They do a tremendous job there. And then we continue on. So we're going to go on now to Island Southeast and keep our tour around the perimeter of the island here going, where you have 3 additional counties of Waterford and Kilkenny and Wexford. We refer to this as the Copper Coast, with that beautiful, the way the sun sets on these cliffs. And also this part of Ireland in particular would have less rain than the rest of the island. That's important to note, because by the time the weather has hit the West Coast and come across, this particular area does tend to have less rain during the year. It's still plenty of green, of course, but if that's something you're thinking about, well, you might want to have better odds of, a little bit more mild in terms of any rain or something like that year round, then this area does tend to have a lot less, has a lot less rainy days. Again, there's so many opportunities in this area, again, for wonderful scenic beauty. You've got the Comeragh Mountains, the drives are fantastic. You see these falls and the lakes. These are all things that are right at the doorstep of our hotel partners in this part of Ireland. Dungarvan on the coast has a fantastic brewery as well, which we'll come to actually in a minute. And there's also the things like the famine ships, and a lot of these things are in this area. So if clients have an interest in learning more about that, this would all be around there. You have fantastic history. Jerpoint Abbey. I always like to talk about Jerpoint a little bit, because this is actually where St. Nicholas himself, Santa Claus, is actually buried at Jerpoint Abbey. And there's actually fantastic Jerpoint Glass nearby does fantastic glass works. So that's a wonderful thing to see as well. And then Waterford, many people know about in terms of heard of Waterford and the Crystal, but Waterford was also a very important Viking settlement back in the day, about 700-800 years ago. So there's a lot of Viking history in Waterford as well. And then just coming through also to the town of Kilkenny. Kilkenny is a medieval city. It's a walled city with a castle and this beautiful, colorful high street. Kilkenny is full of artisanal shops, local designers, wonderful craftsmen. It's a small city of about 30,000 people with a lot of activity. It's very vibrant. It's really equivalent to a fantastic market town in many respects. And Lismore Castle is near there as well, which is a wonderful site for clients who are interested in castles. They are in abundance in Ireland as well, not just in Scotland. And Lismore is one of the best to visit for sure. And then again, you've got the artisans, the craftsmen, again, gin experiences, crystal, pottery, glass making. You see some of the distilleries here. We've got distilleries, we have breweries, so many different things. People doing very interesting things using all the local products, the local provenance of the area. Nicholas Moss Pottery. I'm a big fan of this pottery. They make beautiful mugs and everything like that. And then Urban Aran is a wonderful cashmere wool weaver with beautiful products as well. The Kilkenny Design Studio that you see here is right outside of the castle, actually, in Kilkenny, and it's full of independent artisans making everything, jewelry to clothes. It's a great place for shoppers as well, and to bring back something very special, unique to Ireland. And again, there's wonderful activities in this region as well. Again, so the cycling is available, the hiking, horseback riding, and the Jerpoint Glass that I talked about. They do fantastic glass blowing here. That's right next to the Jerpoint Abbey that I pointed out before. Walks are fantastic, the horseback riding. Again, fishing is great in this part of Ireland as well. So I think the fishing in Ireland in particular, if you're interested in fishing, would be here in the southeast or up around Connemara. Tend to have two of the better options as far as the fishing goes with fly fishing, and the salmon fishing is great at Sheen Falls. This is a new spot called the Waterford Greenway. So this is just outside Waterford. This is a paved path. It's miles and miles of pathway where you can actually pick up a bike at one location, drop it off at the other. So if you have a driver guide with you, they can drop you off at one point. You can enjoy a cycle, stop for lunch, but have a nice half-day experience, and they pick you up on the other end and bring you maybe to the Cliff House Hotel in Ardmore right here on the coast, which is one of the more contemporary hotels in Ireland. It's a very stunning contemporary build. They've got the hotel itself and then the new Cliff Beach House, which is a 5-bedroom home right there on the ocean. Fantastic for exclusive use opportunities as well. And then a little bit more about our hotel product, both hotels and exclusive use options as well. The Manor House at Mount Juliet, the Mount Juliet Estate, is actually just outside of Kilkenny that you saw in the pictures. And this is a stunning manor house, wonderful activities here. They have a Jack Nicklaus design golf course. That's a parkland course. They have horseback riding with a full equestrian center at the estate of Mount Juliet, falconry, as well as the fishing right there on the river, right outside the back of the manor house. So a lot of great opportunities there. And then, last but not least, certainly, is Dublin. And you see all roads lead to Dublin in the map, the capital city of Ireland, of course, with so many things to offer. This is very cosmopolitan Ireland, very 21st century for sure. And with the motorways now as well. If you're in Cork, it's only 3 hours to get up to Dublin. It's only 2 hours up to Belfast, actually. And this is a really nice map of the city center of Dublin. So from one end to the other here, you're 3.75 miles across. So really, no matter what one is doing in Dublin, whether you're going to Trinity College to see the Book of Kells, whether you're going out to Phoenix Park, which is one of the largest parks in Europe and absolutely stunning. Anything you're doing in Dublin, it's very much truly city center. And you see here where with the stars, how everything starts to populate. So you've got equally very short distance from Trinity to Guinness is no more than 1 mile. Kilmainham Jail, which is a very historic jail, very important site. So this is a very compact city. One can cover a lot of ground in 2 to 3 nights in Dublin, with everything from the historic Christchurch Cathedral or St. Patrick's Cathedral to distillery experiences, or maybe maybe you're going to a sporting event or something at the Aviva Stadium. Maybe going to see the football or the rugby. That's right there, very much city center. So everything is very, very accessible. And then all of our celebrated hotels come up as well, right there in the city center, which we have a number of. So that was fast. I don't know how long I took, but I wanted to give you a bit of a whistle stop across the country. And we didn't even talk about Cork, guys. So there's a lot to share. But hopefully it gave you a little bit of a sense of the diversity of what's available. And I would love to answer any questions or anything like that.
Well, Ty, thank you very much for the quick tour around Ireland. I have questions, I can tell you that right now, but for those of you that might have questions, please use the chat box and we will get to them. So start thinking of them now. So before we let Ty go, I mean, you had mentioned many of things, and the weather obviously being one of them. I find out it's correct. I mean, the weather, whether you're there in September or March, it really isn't going to be much different. Maybe a couple of degrees, but I mean, you're going to get rain probably any time of year, or you might get beautiful sunshine. But I did want to try on the castles. I mean, you talked about Ashford and Drummelin and Derry and a few of them, but there's so much more than just the castle. There's the grounds around them too, is there not? I mean, where they can have acres and acres of lots of things to do.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that in terms of activities. So yeah, if you're going to any of those properties, if you're going to Ashford, you're going to Drummelin, if you're going to Adair, you're going to want to allow at least one full day to enjoy just the activities on the estate. I mean, Ashford Castle has over 30 activities just on the property. Drummelin, almost as many, Adair as well. And that's everything from, the falconry to the golf to, just so many unique things that they do. So there's a lot of things to think about in terms of a stay. And I really think, in terms of, like I was saying earlier with this destination, think of Ireland, not just in terms of, well, we're going to go there for 7 days once in our life and, get a sense of it, take a trip and focus on the Southwest with Kerry. And then maybe another time go back and really experience Galway and Connemara. And you can always, pair this up with Dublin or another element of things. But it's a very diverse destination with a lot of flexibility, and a tremendous amount of history also. So just to really, the point here was to illustrate that, it's not just the Ring of Kerry and, Blarney Castle and things like that. There's a lot of other things there for sure.
Yes.
Although those are equally fantastic.
Yeah, and you were talking about hiking and biking, and he showed that one pathway where you can start,
Yeah,
where your driver can drop you off and pick you up, and you can drive. And
yeah, and I tend to focus a lot on that, and I'll tell you why. Because I've noticed the past couple of years in particular that really any request we have for Ireland tends to have some element of, I hear, Ty, the clients don't want to be in the car all day.
Yeah.
They would like to do something active. They want to meet local people. They want to see how things are still being made and all of this kind of stuff. And so, and the thing that's nice about us and the way that we work is that, whether you're with a chauffeur the entire time to the destination, or you've rented a car yourself and we're designing a self-drive itinerary for you, so many of the things I showed you, including like the sheepdog demonstration at Connell, even if you're not necessarily doing a fully privatized trip with us, those are experiences that we can layer into a self-drive itinerary. So there's so many things we can do to augment the experience. So we can provide a lot of structure to the trip, while at the same time including some things that still provide a private experience with local people. And that happens with the cycling, that happens with the hiking. You might be doing something a little more of an independent trip, but think, I'd really like to meet that local farmer who does the great hikes at the Cliffs of Moher. Well, we can book that.
Yeah.
And just really add a lot of value. So I think just to remember that for us, it's not one size fits all. It's never just this way or that way. We can layer in the golf tee times. We can layer in different things. And the more we know what to suggest. And the thing is, like, I could have gone on and on tonight about so many things, but it's because we have a lot. We have a lot to share, And I think also just to bear in mind that if you're interested in the more cultural elements and getting to meet local people, we have so many different things now where we can book an experience, everything from that brewery to the distillery to the chocolate maker, all along the route, and just provide a lot of really fun experiences. So we're very fortunate to have so many great artisan partners in Ireland.
Yeah. And I've also noticed that every country seems to really pride on their chocolate. Whether you're talking about Belgium or Switzerland or Ireland or even no matter where in the world, chocolate is the thing.
That chocolate maker is Belgian, actually, but he lives in Kenmare.
Okay, well, I'm sure the Irish would still claim him. And like you said, the one-way hiking, I wish I could have done it, but we didn't in my trip when I went out there. And I've already convinced I haven't really convinced her yet, but telling my wife that I want to do like the hike from Doolin up through the cliffs, and just instead of taking the car, to walk along the cliffs, so the whole ocean there, and to see the Atlantic Way on the foot. I just think would be so fantastic. Yeah. And and I'm glad you pointed out, like on the Dingle Peninsula and Ring of Kerry, that's a long day if you do the Ring of Kerry. Or if you if you do Dingle. And so you should leave time, I feel, the next day for basically a really good relaxing day. I mean, we were staying in Killarney when we did the Ring of Kerry, and I tell you that was just a really long day, and I was glad that we had some time in Killarney afterwards just to rest and relax and not do anything the next day.
I agree. I think that doing something, if you're doing a trip, let's say you maybe have 8 nights and you're basing yourself in Kerry for like 3, and you're going to do the Ring of Kerry one day and you're going to do Dingle one day, definitely take another day that's more of a down day, be in town, go to the shops, go to the pub at your leisure, just meet, talk, chat to local people. That's one thing about an island. I mean, they never met a stranger, so everybody will talk to you, so it's a lot of fun, and which is great. And that's what people are after, I mean, it's just such an authentic way of doing things. And I do think slowing down, spending more nights in one location, and just is, I'm seeing it. I mean, it's something we've been preaching for years, but I'm starting to really see that people are sort of adhering to that a little bit more and not wanting to do like the two night type of experience. There's many, with what I just illustrated to you, for example, if one were to fly into Shannon, you could do 3 nights in Kerry, 3 nights just up in Galway, back across to Dublin. That's an 8 or 9 night trip. That's fantastic. And that's just one example of things. And then you do Cork and the other area another time. And there's just, we didn't even talk about Northern Ireland tonight. That was a wholly different topic. So I think those are just things to consider. But my point really is that no matter what your interests are, Ireland has it in spades. Like there's so many things to do. And again, it's a place to revisit over the course of one's lifetime, I think.
Well, it's definitely rich in culture and activities, that's for sure. You definitely have plenty to do and plenty to see. And the architecture being, hundreds of years old in some cases, the castles and stuff is just fantastic. I remember you mentioned going up to Skellig Island. I know people think of it as Star Wars, but there's so much more because that was a monastery, if I'm not
yes,
it
was. Yeah, it is a monastery.
But things of that, something like that is really also weather permitting too, is it not?
100%. Yeah, and it's controlled by, it's also controlled by the certain number of people that can go per day and over the course of the year. And there are other things I didn't show you, like more in the Midlands, as far as things like the Rock of Cashel, where St. Patrick was reputed to have converted the King of Munster to Christianity. That happened at the Rock of Cashel, which is a fantastic site. We sent people to the Rock of Cashel either on their way to Cork from Dublin, coming from Kerry up to Dublin. It's right there in the center of the country. And we focus more on the coastal area today, but there's some fantastic things right there in the middle that work their way into the itinerary, depending on how you're approaching it. So all depends on, on client's interest. There's just also like with Catholic history, for example, the shrine that's in Knock, out northeast of Galway, the Catholic shrine is incredible. Also, there's a very important St. Patrick's site north of Dublin on the way to Belfast, as well as everything that just exists in Dublin, which we didn't talk too much about tonight. But hopefully, again, it helped inspire everybody a little bit. And show that we have a lot of knowledge about the country. So we can talk to you about it in any which way, depending on what the interest of the clients is, or of yourselves.
Yeah. And of course, like you said, you can do the self-drive, you can organize that so they can do it at their pace. You can have the chauffeur take them around as well. So
and you can mix and match. You can mix and match, you can do a self-drive and then just have a driver for the Ring of Kerry day. So you can sit back and relax and enjoy it. And not think about the roads, So that's one of the nice things about, again, with our company is that we can layer things in all across the board. We've got the infrastructure around the country with the drivers that we're able to do that.
And like I said, and with the activities, if I want to take a golf day or we want to take a fishing day, fishing is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fisherman by say, but I do know that fishing is huge in Ireland, and it's as are the horses. They're huge as well. And so, definitely lots to do. And I know I'll be going back more than the one time that I've been there. We've already planning, although I think Scotland's next for us. So I'm also happy I'm really going to be looking forward to next month when you're talking about Scotland, because that's my family's next destination.
Yeah. And in Scotland, I'm going to talk next month a lot about some of the distillery experiences. I'm going to talk a bit about the golf and how to approach golf. I'm also going to talk about the hiking element of things, because I'm really finding right now, Jim and ladies and gentlemen, that really about 1 out of every 3 requests has some sort of significant interest in either fishing or hiking, or like that's just where it seems to be that's where people are right now with that. So I want to explain a little bit more about how those things come together, because there's a lot of options.
Well, I think a lot with the fishing or with the golfing or with the hiking, they also, in this day of social distancing, they are considered activities that are extremely safe too.
For sure, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing that a lot, and I'm seeing everything from clients contacting me and saying they would like 7 days of just hiking itinerary, and then I've got other people like, well, we like hikes, but we just kind of want to really like walk up to the waterfall and then like stop and have lunch. So it just depends, and so it's like the more we know, but you saw we have all these pictures, so there's a lot of great things, and the point is I can go on all night about everything. But hopefully y'all enjoyed it.
Well, I don't want to keep you too much all night because I know you're back east in Georgia, correct?
We are, yes, we're in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
So and then you're 3, so it's coming up on 8:15. So if you don't have any further questions for Ty, we're gonna let him go and thank him once again, and we're gonna also look forward to having him come back in July. When he's
July 9th,
basically
July 23rd, I think.
I think it's the 23rd. Yeah, I couldn't
July
remember which
23rd.
Wednesday it was, but I think it is towards the end of the month, and we're going to learn all about Scotland from you. So we're 2/3 of the way through the island, I guess, in a sense. We didn't really do Wales, but we did go out to the
no, we didn't do Wales, but you know, and I do recognize some of the faces and names tonight. So honestly, like guys, to let Jim know in advance, if there's anything in particular about Scotland you specifically want me to really explain more about or talk to you about, let me know in advance. I'll be happy to incorporate that.
Beautiful. That's a great offer. Thank you very much, Ty. And then we didn't even touch on Italy, which I know you guys are big on too. So.
Yeah.
So maybe I do fishing. Maybe I'll just keep reeling you in and just keep having you come back.
Okay.
Thank you very much again for a beautiful presentation of Ireland. We thank you for that, and we definitely look forward to next month on July 23rd when we will hear all about Scotland. And for you regulars, and I did notice some new faces on here tonight, thank you for attending, and we will be back again next Wednesday at 4:30. So until then, we wish you a good week and a good night.
Okay, good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.